Hi and welcome. In this video we're going to take a look at the UVC G4 Bullet, which is the UniFi Protect G4 Bullet security camera. The item's nicely packaged as usual in the solid box. The box has a bit of weight to it. According to the specifications, about 520 grams, which is 1.15 pounds. Let's open the box and take a look inside. So put the lid to one side and we have inside the UniFi Protect G4 Bullet. As you can see, quite a solid piece of kit, and it's made of aluminium alloy and polycarbonate. Also in the box is aluminium mounting plate, which would be used to mount the camera on a pole, as it has the angled recessed things there. Also in the box, in the packet, is two self-tapping screws, a cable gland which you would use to put inside the camera to seal the Ethernet cable going through it and protect it from water damage. There's also two screw anchors or raw plugs, which we call them in the UK, and two machine screws as well. So taking a look at the specifications, it has an IPX4 weatherproof rating, which according to the IPX4 specification has protection against splashes of water at any angle, which I presume means rain hitting it from most angles. However, I would mount the camera under a recess or under the edge of a roof would be preferable, I think. It has a 5 megapixel CMOS sensor with a fixed focal length, and the viewing angle horizontally has a range of 86 degrees, vertically 60 degrees. It also has a built-in light sensor and a built-in IR LED illumination and IR cut filter. The video compression it uses is H.264, and the resolution it will provide is 2688 by 1512 at a 16:9 ratio. The maximum frame rate is 24 frames per second, and the image settings is brightness, contrast, sharpness, saturation, noise reduction, and also 50 to 60 Hz selection. The processor is a quad-core ARM Cortex A53 base chip, and it has 512 megabytes of DDR3L RAM. The management interface you would use is with UniFi Protect. The networking interface is a gigabit Ethernet RJ45 port, which I'll show you in due course, and the flash memory support is 256 megabytes. The maximum power consumption is 4 watts. The power method to power the device is 802.3 AFPoE, power over Ethernet, and also there's a factory reset button on the device as well. It also has a built-in microphone which can be disabled in the UniFi Protect application. The software it uses is obviously UniFi Protect, and you can also use the mobile app UniFi Protect iOS and Android. Let's move the box out the way, take a further look at the camera. We see at the back here is a threaded screw, which we will unscrew now and take a closer look. This ring, which is aluminium and which is used to mount the camera to a wall. There's two holes either side which will be fixed into, for example, brickwork, and then the camera would be fixed onto this bracket. Inside the camera itself is a bag of silica gel which soaks up any moisture during transit. If we take a look at the back of the camera lens, to be precise, there's another threaded screw which we'll undo. This releases the camera lens from the fixings and assembly for the camera itself. Inside the camera, at the back of the lens, we have a sticky plastic cover which, once released, reveals the RJ45 PoE connector. So let's go ahead and test this. First, we need to take the Ethernet cable and thread it through the back of the wall fixing. There is a recess in there, as you'll probably see, for the Ethernet cable to run down or through or back of a wall. Then we take the remaining fixing and thread the Ethernet cable through that as well. At this point we can tighten up the wall fixing part to the mounting arm of the camera, like so. And then once that's been tightened, we can then connect the Ethernet cable into the actual back of the camera lens. Then we can proceed to line up the camera arm into the back of the camera lens, taking note that there is a notch out of the actual camera lens fixing, and there's also a notch on the back of the lens itself, so these must be lined up before you tighten the actual fixing at the back. There we have the camera lens temporarily with the Ethernet cable in place. Let's take a look at the UniFi OS software hosted on my UDM Pro, and let's go ahead and add the camera and look at the various options in the software. Once you have logged into your UniFi OS console, in this case I'm using the UniFi OS version 1.12.33 and it's running on a UDM Pro, as you will see from the picture here. So to proceed, you need to click in the top right corner the dotted square icon, and then from that drop down menu select Protect. Once you have selected this, you will be taken into the Protect application, as you will see here at the top left corner, and then from the second icon down here you need to select this, which is for UniFi devices. Here you will see that I only have one device and it's for a G4 Bullet, and the status is showing as click to adopt. So here click on click to adopt, and it's now saying that one device has been added and the status is changed to adopting. You will see that the status has now changed to updating, which means it's updating the firmware for the G4 Bullet camera. We will wait for this to finish before proceeding further. Now that the status has changed to connected, we can now click on this item, and here a pop-up window will appear referring to G4 Bullet, and it's currently showing a picture of what the camera is actually seeing. For testing purposes, I've just pointed the camera outside of a window and it's just showing rooftop houses at the moment, but this is only for testing purposes. Moving down to the information, you'll see that the camera status is connected, the model is G4 Bullet, the firmware version is 4.57.35 and the connection is 1 gigabits per second. It also shows the MAC address and also the host IP address, the frames per second, which is currently set at 24, and the bit rate is 1000 kilobits per second. The uptime is currently 2 minutes and the connected time is 1 minute. Moving up to the picture, you'll see that there's a play symbol in the window. Let's click on this, and here you'll see that there's a live camera feed for the UniFi Protect. Also, there's 3 icons appearing in the window. Here you will see the first one shows Here you will see the first one shows change quality, so let's click on that, and it's automatically set at high quality, which is 4 megapixels. You can also click the second icon, which is for unmute sound, or click it again to mute sound. At the moment the sound is muted because, as I said, I'm just showing the camera, because at the moment I'm just pointing the camera outside of a window. The third icon is enter full screen mode, so we'll click on that. The escape key goes back to the normal window mode. Looking at the window itself, you can actually move it around the screen, and you can also resize it, as you'll see I've done here now. It's currently 3:40 p.m. in the afternoon here, and it's quite a dull day anyway, as you can probably see from the picture. So in the top right corner of the window you will see that there's a camera icon, which if we click will take a snapshot, and which pops up a window on your Explorer for you to save the image as a JPEG file. Next to it there's a cog. Let's resize the window slightly, and let's click on the cog icon to see what options appear. Here we've got settings for microphone, which takes you into the microphone sensitivity, brightness, which could be increased or decreased. Here you'll see I've increased it now slightly, which has made the picture a lot brighter. Third icon is for contrast. Fourth one is for hue. The fifth one saturation. Sixth one sharpness. Seventh one denoise. And the eighth one AE mode. AE mode is for auto exposure control, how the camera adjusts to lighting conditions, and this is automatically set to auto at the moment. Orientation, you can horizontally flip the picture and vertically flip the picture as well. Then the next one along is for infrared, and the infrared night vision is set to automatic, and the activation sensitivity is currently set low. The other options for activation sensitivity are medium and high, and also the infrared night vision option is auto, filter only, no LEDs, always enable or always disable, or automatic. I will leave it on automatic for the time being. Then the next icon from the menu is for LDC, and the LDC relates to lens distortion correction, which helps counteract any camera distortion, and that's currently set to on, so we'll leave that as it is for the time being. And then the final icon in the settings menu is for HDR, which is high dynamic range, and which balances varying light with the camera's capture. Changing this value will cause the stream to reset, and by default HDR is enabled. Then to remove the menu, click Done, which takes you back to the viewing window. Then the third icon on the viewing window is for Close Player. Going back to the previous menu for the G4 bullet, which pops up at the right side here, we can also select moving on from overview, we can also select recording mode. However, you do require a hard disk drive to record any video. As we don't have a hard drive installed in my UDM Pro at the moment, or any recording device, then it will not record at the moment, but this is just for testing purposes anyway, and I will be installing hard drives later, so keep a lookout for future videos. Then moving across to the third icon, we have settings. Here has the settings like most UniFi devices do, and under general you can give it a camera name. At the moment it's set for G4 bullet. You can allocate it to a device group. You can also change the microphone sensitivity, the infrared sensitivity. So we click on overlay information. You can also have the time, camera name, logo and nerd mode displayed on the video window. So let's click apply changes and take a look. back in the overview screen at the video. Here you'll see now in the top left corner of the video window we have the date and the time, and also the name of the camera, which would be quite useful. If you have multiple cameras, you'd know which camera you are looking at. So let's go back to the settings and then move down to advanced. Here you will see it has real-time streaming protocol, also known as RTSPS, and it can be set to high, which is 2688 by 1512, or medium 1280 by 720, and then low 640 by 360. These items are currently all set to off, but we will set this to high, which is 2688 by 1512. Then select the next option, which is manage, and in there we have restart camera and unmanaged camera. The unmanaged camera option would be used to remove the camera from the network should you wish to install it on another UniFi OS network. So now that we've set the real-time streaming protocol to high, let's go back to the overview window and view the camera again, and making the window bigger, I can certainly see that it has improved the picture quality quite a lot. So I think, to be honest, I would use that high quality streaming setting. While seeing the video window, if I scroll up on my mouse, there's a box that appears in the top right corner. If I select this grey box here, click my left mouse button and drag and drop it, you'll see that the camera will move to various points in the picture to zoom in on. Then using the mouse again, we can use this scroll wheel. Then using the mouse's scroll wheel we can actually scroll in and scroll out to zoom in on the picture. As you'll see, the picture does deteriorate slightly the further you zoom in, but is still actually visible. So let's click on close player in the top right corner of the video window, and that completes adding a G4 bullet to the UniFi Protect console. So let's close that other window. Then for the time being I'm going to select settings, manage, and then unmanage camera, and then delete the camera's recording history as well, and then click unmanage, which will then remove the device from the UniFi Protect console. As once I've installed the camera in its proper position, I will be adding it back into the UniFi network again, along with some other cameras as well. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found this video helpful.